Uplift your life.
Have you ever wondered what it truly means to reach your full potential? In a world where we are often defined by titles, roles, or accomplishments, what does it mean to be your best self? Some of the world's most renowned thinkers have pondered this question. Abraham Maslow, the psychologist famous for his work on the hierarchy of needs, once said, "Only when you reach the peak of personal development can you truly contribute to humanity." This idea challenges us to think beyond our daily tasks and successes. It suggests that personal growth isn't just about climbing the ladder for ourselves, but about reaching a point where we can help others along the way. Yet, how do we know when we've truly reached that summit? Is it when we have enough money, fame, or recognition? Or is it when we find peace within ourselves and use our growth to serve others? In the quiet town of Elmwood, a man named Lucas would soon come to realize the true meaning of Maslow's words. His journey would take him to the edge of his comfort zone and beyond, showing him that true fulfillment comes from more than just personal success. Lucas was 38 years old, a small business owner with big dreams. He ran a local coffee shop, the Roasted Bean, which had become quite popular in Elmwood. People loved his coffee, but what they loved more was his energy. He made every customer feel seen and heard. He had a knack for remembering everyone's name and their favorite drink, creating a warm, inviting atmosphere where people felt like they belonged. But lately, Lucas had begun to feel an emptiness inside him. Despite his success, he sensed that something was missing in his life. He often found out the window at the busy streets of Elmwood, wondering if there was more to life than just managing the shop. His customers came and went, each day blending into the next. There was no time for deep reflection or change. The growth he had once felt excited about now seemed shallow. One evening, after closing the shop, Lucas sat at the counter, the hum of the fridge, the only sound. He scribbled in his journal, trying to make sense of it all. "I'm not sure what's missing," he muttered to himself. "I have everything I've worked for, but I feel like there's a void in me, like I'm meant for something more, something bigger." Lost in his thoughts, Lucas was suddenly interrupted by a knock on the door. "Who's there?" Lucas asked. "It's me, Maya," came the reply, Lucas's best friend. "I was out for a walk and saw the lights still on, so I decided to stop by." Lucas opened the door for Maya, and the two of them sat down to talk for a while, sensing Lucas's inner turmoil and confusion. "You've built this place from the ground up, Lucas," she said, her voice calm yet firm. "But maybe you've reached the limit of what it can give you. Maybe it's time to think about what more you can give, not just to yourself, but to others." Lucas looked at her, his eyes filled with confusion. "What do you mean?" "I mean, you've created something beautiful here, but you've been so focused on building your business that you haven't stopped to think about your own growth or what you can offer the world beyond this shop." The next few days were a blur for Lucas. He couldn't shake Maya's words. "What more can I offer?" he kept asking himself. The coffee shop was doing well. His employees were happy, and his customers loved him. He had everything anyone could want, except the fulfillment he had hoped for. As he walked through the town one afternoon, he saw a group of kids gathered around a small park bench, looking at something intently. Curiosity pulled him in, and as he approached, he saw that the kids were watching an elderly man paint a mural on the side of a building. The artist, with wrinkled hands and silver hair, looked up and smiled as Lucas stopped by. "Would you like to try?" he asked, motioning toward the paint and brushes. Lucas hesitated. He had never painted a day in his life, but something in the man's calm demeanor intrigued him. "Sure," he replied, surprised at his own words. He picked up a brush and dipped it into the paint. The first stroke was awkward, but it felt strangely freeing. As he painted, the mural began to take shape, a tree with expansive branches, filled with birds soaring toward the sky. It symbolized freedom, growth, and possibility. When he finished the section of the mural, the artist looked at him with approval. "You have potential," he said. "The tree you painted, it's about expansion. Growth is not just personal, it's about how you reach out to others." For the first time in a long while, Lucas felt a spark of inspiration. There was more to life than running a business. He realized that he had been focusing so much on success that he had forgotten to nourish his own growth. That night, Lucas couldn't sleep. He thought about the mural, the artist's words, and the feeling of reaching beyond his own limits. He knew he couldn't continue living the way he had been. It was too safe, so safe that he had forgotten how long he had been asleep in it. There were so many exciting things out there waiting for him to experience. Life had to be more than just what he had already achieved. It was time for a change, time to push himself in new directions. A few weeks later, after getting everything in order at the coffee shop, Lucas began his journey. He wanted to explore new opportunities and challenge himself in ways he had never done before. He enrolled in a leadership course, volunteered at local shelters, and even started learning to paint, following in the footsteps of an older artist. Every day was different. Every day felt like a new lesson in growth. Slowly, Lucas started to feel a shift within himself. He wasn't just building a business, he was building a life of meaning, not just for himself, but for others. His heart felt fuller, and he could see how his contributions could extend beyond the walls of the roasted bean. Months later, Lucas returned to Elmwood, but not in the same way. He wasn't just the owner of a coffee shop anymore. He had become a leader in the community, offering mentorship programs to local youth, supporting small businesses, and fostering creativity in places that had been overlooked. He found himself organizing community art projects, sponsoring local charity events, and even opening a space for aspiring artists to display their work. One afternoon, as Lucas walked through Elmwood's park, he noticed the mural, the one he had helped paint months ago. It had flourished into something grander, with more trees and more birds soaring higher into the sky. The kids who had gathered around to watch him paint were now contributing, painting sections of the mural with their own ideas. As Lucas stood there, watching the mural come to life, he realized something profound. He had reached the summit of his own development. He was no longer just living for his own success. He was living to help others find theirs. He had learned that true fulfillment came not from personal achievement, but from contributing to the growth of others. The transformation in Lucas was remarkable. Not only had he expanded his horizons, but he had also become a catalyst for growth in his community. His business continued to thrive, but more importantly, Lucas had found a deeper purpose, a purpose that transcended profits or recognition. He became a living testament to Maslow's idea. True development isn't about self-centered success. It's about expanding your potential in ways that benefit others. As Lucas continued to grow, he realized that the true measure of success was not how much you could achieve for yourself, but how much you could give back to the world. Lucas's journey taught him a powerful lesson. Personal growth is not a destination, but a lifelong process. He had spent years building a business, but it was only when he started looking beyond himself that he discovered true fulfillment. By pushing past the boundaries of what was comfortable and familiar, he found a deeper sense of purpose. Maslow's idea that true contribution comes when we reach the peak of personal development resonates deeply with Lucas's experience. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that growth stops once we achieve certain milestones, whether that's financial success, professional recognition, or personal stability. But the reality is, true growth happens when we continually challenge ourselves to learn, to evolve, and to help others along the way. Lucas's story shows that once we stop viewing ourselves as finished products, we open the door to endless possibilities, not just for our own development, but for the impact we can have on those around us. True success doesn't come from what we accumulate, but from what we give. It's about reaching a point in life where we can offer our strengths, our wisdom, and our creativity to others, helping them rise to their own potential. In doing so, we find the deepest sense of satisfaction and self-worth. So, what about you? Are you still waiting for the moment when you feel done with your personal growth? Or are you ready to embrace the journey, knowing that true fulfillment comes from constantly expanding your horizons and helping others do the same?